right, well, Dr. Templeman, thank you so much for being with us today. We're excited to have you here to talk about Power, this amazing energy drink that we have in Europe and South Africa.
Well, it's good to be here. Always fun.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here to speak about and have your expertise on the ingredients and the effects of this amazing product. And in the market today, there's a lot of energy drinks out there. There's a lot of similarities with some differences. Can you talk about that for a moment?
Well, initially when the Xalo company, I've been a consultant for the Xalo company for many years. I think it's important to know that I'm not an employee, I'm a consultant. And when they told me that they were going to enter the energy drink market, I was not enthusiastic. I use the product now virtually daily. But at the time that they told me they were going to come into this market, I could not conceive of how they were going to formulate something that would avoid all of the pitfalls that the other companies with their energy drinks had fallen into.
Right.
First of all, those drinks that are on the market are unhealthy. And you don't find medical associations or medical authorities who are saying this is great stuff. They just don't. In fact, in some countries, because they've been mixed with alcohol, there is a prohibition against the use of them. So I wasn't enthusiastic. I thought they're not going to be able to solve this problem. Put only good stuff in and not harm anyone. So when they launched their product, I managed to be outside of the country so that nobody could ask me for a comment. But my son-in-law, who is a professor at the University School of Medicine, and very aware of bodily functions and things like this, he used the product and he continued to use it for about a year, and then came to me and said, "Hey, Dad, you're wrong about this. You're wrong. And you closed your mind and you haven't looked at it. Take a look at it. Tell me what's bad in it." And I took a look, and quite frankly, I use it every day. And the reason that it's different is that primarily it does not have synthetics in it, okay? Most of the products out there on the market are loaded with synthetic caffeine.
Right.
And the body does not see synthetic caffeine as anything except a drug. And it tries to get rid of it as fast as it can. Ergo, along with the quantities of sugar, enormous quantities of sugar. I mean, I'm talking 3 or 4 sugar cubes. I'm talking 5, 6, 7 sugar cubes that can be found in a single serving of some of the things that are out there on the market. That, combined with the fact that the body gets rid of synthetic caffeine, causes a spike in energy and then a tremendous drop. Now, that could be a marketing technique because they want to sell their products to be used many times a day. But it's not good. And the other thing that caused me concern was the fact that despite government guidelines, nutritional guidelines about how many vitamins, B vitamins, and the quantities of B vitamins that are in a product, they put thousands of times more B vitamins in these products without really knowing what the long-term effect of that would be. Yeah. And I did not feel enthusiastic. So this product Xalo has put out is different for one very fundamental reason. If you're going to give somebody a drink that is intended to give them energy, usually it's going to be during times of exertion, at the gym, running a race, doing something like that, that they're really going to need this energy. Now, we'll talk about the intellectual lift that they get with the mental acuity, but they're looking for the physical energy. And you do not address the electrolytic balance in the body. You're starting out on the wrong basis. Now, all those products out there are based on water.
Right.
Water is essential, certainly, but it doesn't have a great deal to do with electrolytes. But the Xalo company put coconut water as the basis in which they made their energy drink. And that coconut water, historically there's some anecdotal evidence that it is compatible with the human body because of its ability to help with electrolytes, so much so that in emergency situations it was used during war as an intravenous fluid. So there's
That's
the
incredible.
biggest difference.
Yeah.
Then when you start to look at the source of caffeine, because let's be honest, caffeine is the energizing factor in all of these products. But synthetic caffeine is over here and bad. And caffeine that is complexed in a food, like gotu kola and green tea, which are the two elements in this that provide the natural caffeine. The body views that kind of caffeine as a food. It doesn't try and get rid of it as fast as it can. It metabolizes it in a nice curve so that you get an effect that lasts hours and you don't have any of the synthetic disadvantages.
Which is really important in an energy drink.
I think so.
Yes. So what do you think people are going to experience? All of us are familiar with energy drinks and a lot of the negative things that you've just mentioned. But when they take power, what do you think they're going to experience? What will they notice first?
Well, I think within 15 minutes, they're going to notice physical energy. They're going to notice an alertness that is brought about by the ingredients that we've just talked about. And then they're going to notice that that will carry on for hours. It isn't something that you need to use 3, 4, 5 times a day. It's something that if you used it once, that might be well enough for you. And if you used it more than that, you aren't going to be harming yourself.
Right. You're not
So, yeah.
all those extra sugars, all those extra vitamin Bs
Right.
that aren't good for you.
And the other thing that they're going to notice is a lift in mental acuity. Half of the ingredients, green tea, the gotu kola, the mangosteen, and Panax ginseng, those things help with mental acuity. So you're getting a lift not just in your physical energy, but you're actually getting a mental edge. So you've got half of the ingredients or more, in fact, that address the idea of mental acuity. So they're going to notice that if they're a student and they're writing an exam, better recall, sharper. They're going to notice, because of the GABA that is in there, that they're going to be calmer, even though they may have physical energy, even though they're going to have a perking of their mental acuity. They're not going to get jittery, and they're not going to be anxious. Even if they're in an anxiety-provoking situation, there will be assistance, because GABA, which is in the product principally, as far as I understand it, because of its effect on the promotion of growth hormone, GABA facilitates the release of the factors that lead to the fabrication of growth hormone. And that was why it was included.
That's amazing.
I used to prescribe GABA to my patients for anxiety because it's a neurotransmitter that actually has a calming effect. Ergo, none of the jitters that are associated with some of the other products, and a mental edge when you have to perform intellectually as well as physically.
That is fantastic. So you have all these tremendous benefits, no sugar crash afterwards. And Dr. Templeman, tell us about how you use power in your daily use.
Well, I've been genetically programmed to be obese, thanks to my parents. And I live in a country where virtually everything that we eat is not particularly good for us. And despite the arguments that the problem with Americans is exercise, it isn't. The problem with Americans is the food that we eat. So I'm here, sometimes not eating the way I'm supposed to. And at one point in my life, I was seriously obese. I now am still in the overweight category. But if I don't exercise every day and get the benefits that are required all throughout life, but most especially in the geriatric age where I am, if I don't exercise every day, I am losing out on the benefits that my body can have. So I go to the gym every day, or I'm exercising at home when I'm on the road and can't get to a gym. So I use power before I'm going to head to the gym. And if I've got something intellectual to do where memory matters, then I use it before that. Before I came today, used it. And necessarily it is something that becomes part of my routine when I have to perform either physically or mentally. And I feel very comfortable about it being safe. And I don't think I can say that about anything else that is out there competitively in the marketplace.
I agree 100%. One other question I have for you, though, is what about ages? Is it appropriate for all ages? Would you give this to young children?
That becomes a value judgment. The caffeine is natural, and the caffeine in most coffee is natural as well. So the body sees it not as a synthetic, but sees it as a food. And I would say to parents, because the amount of caffeine that is in the power is the same as is in a cup of tea, a cup of coffee rather. Therefore, if you feel comfortable giving your child coffee, then you can give them power. And that will vary. That's a value judgment that parents will make at different times in different circumstances. And I think it's a rule of thumb that works.
Okay, that's great.
Well,
Thank you.
Let me just say one thing in closing. I didn't mention the mangosteen, but it's the foundation of this, the same way it is the foundation of most of the Xalo products, which is a mangosteen company. And for the benefits of mangosteen, which are multiple, see another one of the tapes that we've done.
Right, absolutely. Great. Well, I think that covers it. I just want to thank you for being with us today and sharing this expertise for our distributors and helping us understand the powerful differences in this amazing product power that we have and how you can not only benefit from it, but also how you can educate other people about it by sharing this video with your downline, with your customers and new distributors as they learn about this amazing product.